Welcome to Weekend Crafting Adventures with Kim Wojtalowicz. Get ready to learn all about her latest craft project as she reveals experiences with the Cricut cutting machine. Follow along as she discusses her project's successes and fails, shares her inspiration, tips and tricks, and overall satisfaction rating for each project. Now, here's your host, Kim.
Hi, crafties, and welcome to Weekend Crafting Adventures. I'm Kim, and I just wanted to take a minute to say, if this is the first time you are tuning in to listen to my podcast, or if you have come back and listened to another one of my podcasts, I just want to say thank you. This whole world of podcasting is pretty new to me, and my first few episodes just recently went live. I am back to work full-time teaching, and it is a crazy time, but thank you if you have tuned in or you are tuning in now for the first time, because I am having fun sharing these crafting adventures with you, and I hope that you are finding some sort of inspiration by what I'm doing with my Cricut Maker. For those of you that are not watching the video podcast, I'm going to let you know that today I have traded in my baseball hat for some Moana mini ears. And the reason I am doing that is because this episode is all about Disney swag. Recently, a while ago, at the end of the summer, my family went on an amazing trip to Walt Disney World in Orlando. And one of the episodes that I just did, episode 8, was on my Disney pool towel project. And that was the main souvenir that I made for our trip to Disney. But once my niece Alexandra and I started talking about all the other things Disney that you can do and you can make and bring to Pixie Dust your family, we kind of went a little bit overboard. If you would have asked me before the Disney trip if I would be wearing mini ears and a Disney t-shirt every day in the park, I would have told you no way. But I am here to tell you that opinion and feeling has completely changed. Being in Disney World is just like being in this big, amazing bubble. And I can tell you it was so much fun putting together tons of Disney swag for our family for this trip. I do want to let you know that there are definitely a couple of the crafting projects and pieces of Disney swag that I did not use my Cricut for, and that I will be talking about those things in this episode, because I just wanted to share with all of you how much fun it can be to just go big when you're going to Disney in terms of everything from head to toe, from the ears to the hats to the earrings, t-shirts, totes, towels. I can't even tell you how many things that we put together to make this once in a lifetime trip so much fun for the family. The first part of this trip and putting together all of these amazing items for the trip was the planning piece. And I will say that my niece Alexandra was amazing with this. She actually created an Excel spreadsheet that she shared with me because she's out in California and I'm in Colorado. And we needed a way to keep track of everything that she was putting together, everything that I was putting together, and just keep track of it all. So that spreadsheet was amazing. And it was a huge, huge help in putting together all of the bits and pieces of what we wanted to pixie dust with for our family. That was huge. And then the other piece was we took the characters that everybody chose. So when I made the Disney pool towels, every family member chose a character from Disney that they wanted to be represented of themselves for the trip. So for instance, mine was Moana. So I was now going to be getting all things Moana. And that was kind of what we used as the starting point for each person. So we all had Disney Minnie ears, but mine were Moana and Alexandra's were Tinkerbell. So taking off from those characters that we identified from the pool towels really helped give us direction on the kinds of things that we were putting together for each family member. I definitely am not going to have enough time to talk about every single little thing that we put together for each family member. So, knowing that, I do want to say that I will put together a list of everything and as many pictures as possible on the blog post. And also, I will post it on my social media throughout the week after this episode goes live, so that if you are interested in even just putting together one or two or three of these items, if you're heading to Disney anytime in the future, you can see what Alexandra and I put together for everybody. I wanted to just share with you and give you some insight into two of the Cricut crafting Disney projects that I did before this trip. And those two projects are the Disney nail decals that I made using my Cricut Maker and the Tshirts. So, first of all, the Disney nail decals, that was so much fun. I got some Impress press on nails, white in color, and I went on to YouTube and a couple of different sites that I will have listed in the blog post. And I learned how to cut teeny tiny nails, decals out of permanent vinyl that I put onto these press on nails and then wore for the entire week while we were down at Disney World. And this project was really fun. I ordered the impressed nails from Amazon and I chose the color white because I wanted to do white nails with black permanent vinyl on them. I chose 5 different symbols from Disney that I wanted Cricut to cut out that I was then going to put on the nails. And the designs that I chose were a Walt Disney World font. I used the letter D in kind of that really fun scripty font. I did a Mike Wazowski, a Moana, a castle, and a Mickey head. I did play around with some more intricate images, SVG images, but when I went to cut out those more intricate images on my Cricut Maker, I had a really hard time weeding out that tiny of an image. So I did go back to the 5 that I told you about, and I made them like a silhouette. So really, it worked well. I am talking, these images were really like a quarter of an inch big, pretty tiny. And I have pretty big hands and my nails are bigger than most people. So I'm just going to say I'm super impressed with all of the people out there that are cutting these tiny nail decals that are so intricate. That is very impressive. I loved the ones that I came out with. And one of the things I took away from these Disney nail decals was that really what I needed to do was every day at Disney put another clear coat of top coat over those vinyl decals on top of the nails, because with all of the wear and tear of just going on the rides and the travel and going in the water at Typhoon Lagoon, like pretty impressive that these lasted the entire week. But I definitely would have benefited from having my top coat with me and putting a little bit of top coat on those every day. The only thing I brought with me was an extra little bit of nail glue, because I did read that the impressed nails, if you're very active and in and out of water, can sometimes separate off of your nails within a couple days. So I brought some nail glue with me, and I did use that to keep the impressed nails on my nails. And I also used it to glue down those little pieces of permanent vinyl that were popping up on me throughout the week. I'd have a little Mike Wazowski leg pop up, and I just use that glue and glue it down, and it would be fine. But I really do think it would have looked better if I would have had that top coat. So definitely keep that in mind if you are using the nail decals and you're putting them on and you're traveling. Bring that top coat with you for sure. The next highlight that I want to talk to you about and project that I did do with my Cricut Maker were the Disney T-shirts. I did not think that I was the kind of person that would be in the park in a different Disney t-shirt every day. And I was wrong. I actually made one common Disney t-shirt for the entire group. I made a Disney is Better with Family t-shirt for 20 members of our family. And on the back of that t-shirt, I put everybody's character. So on my t-shirt, I had Moana on the back of my t-shirt. And I'm going to tell you something that was pretty unexpected for me. I didn't know how many members of the family would be thrilled to be matching in t-shirts throughout the park. I really didn't. And I'd not been to Disney World since I was about 14 years old. And that's a really long time ago and way before Cricut. And I don't know back then if people were wearing the matching tees. Maybe they were, but I didn't really notice it. And I will tell you, one of the biggest tips that I can give you if you are going to Disney and you're going with a group, whether it's 5 people or like our group of 20, when we all were wearing the same t-shirt and we're all matched up with our Disney's Better with Family t-shirt with our characters on the back, we were much more likely to get into the park at rope drop as a large group. And I'm going to tell you why. And it has everything to do with the t-shirt. So we did stay at the Art of Animation, which is one of Disney World's on park hotels. And because we stayed in one of those Disney hotels, we were able to rope drop, which meant we could get into the park. It varied, but usually it was about 30 minutes before anybody else could get into the park. And with a large group of 20 people heading towards the rope for rope drop, it was pretty chaotic. And once the time comes where the Disney employees are ready to let you in, they scan one member of the group's magic band and they ask you, how many people are in your group? And there's my brother-in-law, who was always leading the pack, Jeff, would say 20 people. And you could see the eyes like, okay, because what they want to do is let your entire group in together. And when we had our matching t-shirts on, that process was pretty quick. They could identify who we were. So Jeff would say, there's 20 of us and we're all wearing this t-shirt. And it made it so easy. We would all put our hands up, and the person, the Disney member that was letting people through to go rope drop, would look at all of us and know exactly who was part of our group. And it went really well. When we were not wearing our matching t-shirts, it was a bit more complicated, especially because of the size of the group we were. So my opinion of Disney t-shirts has completely changed. It was not only so much fun having a different themed t-shirt for every park, it actually helped us move through the park as a group better. So that is a huge tip. And I really was not anticipating that to be the case. The next piece about the Disney t-shirts that I wanted to share is that I did get all of the SVG files for the Disney t-shirts from Etsy. They have a huge amount of choices, and I was able to find every single character and theme that I needed for the Disney t-shirts on Etsy. So I did create t-shirts for my family, the four of us, for a couple of the days, but not every day, and not for the 20 member group. After doing the towel project, there was no way I was going to be able to make 20 t-shirts times 4 different parks. It just wasn't going to be possible. So I made myself a t-shirt for every park. And that was really fun to get up every day and put on this park themed t-shirt to head over to that individual park. I also made my husband a couple of different ones. One of my favorite t-shirts that I made him was a Chewbacca t-shirt for when we were going to Hollywood Studios, where the whole Star Wars world is. And that was one of my favorite t-shirts I made. I will definitely share a picture of that one in the blog post, because it's pretty cool and it just goes with my husband's personality. So it was really fun. But in talking about the t-shirts, I am going to tell you I tried something really cool that I had never tried before. I found puff vinyl. If you have never tried puff vinyl, it is super fun. I used it for my Animal Kingdom t-shirt that I did with the big sun setting with Simba in it, and the sun I made out of puff vinyl, and it creates this really cool look and texture on the t-shirt. I also used the puff vinyl for all of the kids, the girls' mini ears that I made them for their Disney's Better with family t-shirts. The little bow that went on the mini ears, I made that with puff vinyl, and it just gave it this really cute extra accent. So definitely try some puff vinyl if you are making some t-shirts or things that you want to add a little extra texture to or accent. I found it really fun and really enjoy the way it looks. Along with the t-shirts and the nail decals, I want to share with you what we put in these amazing tote bags that Alexandra had put together for every family in the trip. I'm going to share with you what went in those tote bags. But to start with, the tote bag was so cute. Alexandra got some tote bags that actually zipped at the top. They're canvas tote bags, they're amazing. And she put a really fun Mickey head with all the different characters of Disney using that SVG file and vinyl. She put that on one side of the tote bag. And then on the other side of the tote bag, she had the saying, the one where they went to Disney, which is super fun. So, not every individual family member got a tote bag, but every family group. So, that was a really big project as well. And she then put all of the pixie dusting Disney swag into those tote bags and flew them in an extra suitcase down to Disney World, just like I flew with an extra duffel bag of Disney pool towels. She flew with an extra bag too. And when we got down to Disney World, when we got to the hotel, she took everything and made the most amazing tote bags full of all things Disney swag, everybody's characters, and everything like that. So then she delivered them to everybody's hotel room the night before we had our first park day. And it was so fun. It was just really cool to see what was in the tote and everybody's reaction. Such a fun way to start our Disney World trip. So I'm going to tell you the things that I contributed, and then I will also tell you the amazingly long list of things that Alexandra put together and put in those Disney tote bags. So the things that I contributed that I made with the Cricut were the pool towels, the Disney themed pool towels that we used at Typhoon Lagoon. I cut fabric out with the Cricut Maker and sewed that fabric onto the pool towels. They were individualized for everybody. And I actually share my entire experience doing that in episode 8, in my podcast, episode 8. The other thing that I put in were the t-shirts for every family member. I did that. So 20 t-shirts went out. I also did sew some lanyards. So using the scrap Disney fabric that I had left over from my towel project, I sewed every family member except I think 2, because Alex and Jonathan already had lanyards. I sewed a lanyard, and the lanyard was used to hold a pin pouch and also a little like badge holder where we placed these cards. Again, we found these really cute character bingo cards on Etsy that I bought and then downloaded and had Kinko's print out. They had all of the characters throughout all of the Disney parks, and we attached a little permanent marker to those badge holders, and the kids and adults, but mostly for the kids, could wear that lanyard with the character bingo throughout the park. And while they were waiting in the long lines, they could take out their card and mark off any of the characters that they had seen throughout the parks. So that was really fun. So I made those lanyards, and the other piece of that we used for those badge holders were that in the Epcot, it was the Food and Wine Festival going on while we were there. So we again got some really cool, it was called Sipping and Snacking Around the World cards from Etsy. The download file had those printed at Kinko's as well. And those went in the badge holders for the adults and kids so that when we were at Epcot, everybody could keep track of all the snacks and drinks that they had in each of the different countries of Epcot. And that was really fun. So the lanyards were used for that. I also did sew a backpack last minute. I love to sew, and I had this extra retro Star Wars fabric left over from the towels, and I knew I was going to need a backpack for the parks. And I thought, I'm just going to make myself cute little backpack. So I made a backpack. I will definitely post pictures of it. It came out very fun and cute. I made luggage tags for just my family, 4 luggage tags with each of our characters on them. And I think, I made canvas shoes. One of my other projects in one of my other podcast episodes, I think it's episode 6, is I did a shaving cream and tie-dye canvas shoe project with my son. And on the 2 pair of shoes, one I made for myself and one I made for Alexandra, knowing that we would be going to Disney, I made some canvas shoes that I wore down in Disney World with some heat transfer vinyl of Disney characters placed on those shoes. So a lot of Disney swag. So in these tote bags that Alexandra put together were a ton of useful, amazing items that actually came in handy. Everything from some mosquito bug bands for all the family members to little pouches with heat transfer vinyl on them, park essentials, where she put wet wipes, disinfectant wipes, hand sanitizer, Band-Aids, things like that. Even a little thing of ibuprofen that we carried into the park in our backpacks every day. We didn't bring the tote bags in, but we moved some of that stuff from the tote bags into our backpacks to bring in. The long list of items is including, but not limited to, sunglasses for every family member with the heat transfer vinyl put on the side with the year and Disney World and their character. The fans that blow mist, those were in the tote. She had tissues, she had ponchos, she had let's see, I have to look at my list. Pin pouches, those also were hung from the lanyards, and the pin pouches were really cool because another thing I learned down at Disney is that pin trading is huge. And so these pin pouches that Alexandra put in for all of the family members had 1 or 2 pins, and the kids and the adults could walk around, and there are different stations throughout the park where you leave a pin and take a pin. And it was a really cool activity that the kids really enjoyed and the adults enjoyed when we were in all of the parks. So she made some custom pin pouches and scrunchies, suntan lotion with the stickers of the characters on top. And man, I mean, just so many useful, amazing things that we definitely needed, but we didn't maybe not know we were going to need. So she did an incredible job, and it was really fun seeing the final product of the tote bag with all of the fun stuff. Oh, one other thing she put in that was a really smart idea were some fidget toys, those Poppet toys. She found Poppet toys in Disney figures and attached them to each of the totes for the kids so that when they were waiting in the lines, they had something to fidget with. Super smart, super fun. And of course, the fact that they were like a Yoda head or something like that, a Stitch figure was pretty cool that she found that stuff. So there is a ton of other stuff I'm sure I'm forgetting, but I will definitely list it all on the blog post in case you're interested to see and you want to maybe take some ideas from that and add them to something you're putting together for your Disney trip. I do want to share with you my crafting keepers from this episode. I have 2 crafting keepers, and the first one is creating nail decals with the Cricut Maker using permanent vinyl. That was pretty cool. And I learned a lot from that because, like I said before, I definitely will be carrying top coat with me to make sure that vinyl stays on well while I'm wearing those impress press-on nails. So making nail decals, definitely a crafting keeper. I could see making some fun ones for all the different seasons that happen throughout the year. And the other crafting keeper is the puff vinyl. That was just such a fun, unexpected find. And it really added some texture and fun to the t-shirts that I was making for this trip. My satisfaction rating for this is a 5. This was awesome. It was so much fun to put together all of this Disney swag for the entire family and just being down there and everybody having everything and wearing it and all the Mickey hats and Mickey ears and Minnie ears and different character items that were personalized to everybody was really fun. So this definitely gets a 5. I don't want to leave this episode without sharing a few things that I learned about Disney because this was a once in a lifetime trip for us. We did go big. And I did want to share a couple of really cool things that we experienced when we were down there. I mentioned the pin trading. That was really a neat thing that everybody enjoyed. Just walking up to the different stands and looking at the pins that were there. And as long as you had a pin to give, you could take one and it was free. I mean, buying your own pins does cost money, but the trading part of it was a really fun experience. So that was a fun takeaway. Whoa, the Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. Wow, that was an experience. My takeaway from that is that look at YouTube tutorials on how to utilize that Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. Who knows? By the time this podcast is out there live, there may be a ton of different changes to the system. But when we were down there at the beginning of August, it was where we actually had to have 4 family members meet up outside the lobby of the hotel. And because we were a group of 20, we could only book the Genie Plus and the Lightning Lanes for 10 members. So we had 4 people. We had 2 people that were booking Genie Plus experiences and 2 people that were purchasing Lightning Lane rides because we wanted to make sure when we were down there, we got to do the rides that we wanted to do. We were going to be down there one time. And in order to do that, we had to be down there and right at 7:00, getting on our phones, getting on our Disney Experience apps and booking those rides. We were lucky enough that, again, my brother-in-law, Jeff, had done a ton of research, and we were even some days on the buses, standing 4 of us together and clicking in and getting those rides. And we actually got to ride every single thing we wanted to because we had looked into how to do it and we did it right at 7:00 every morning. So if you are planning to go to Disney World, check into that Genie Plus and Lightning Lane system because it is changing all the time and it has a learning curve. My other takeaway would be that we had such an amazing time at a restaurant called Homecoming in Disney Springs. Our waiter was absolutely incredible. He was so personable. It is a very busy time in August before school starts down at Disney World. But I just want to shout him out because once he found out that my husband and I were teachers, he actually gave us the Disney employee discount off of our bill to thank us for being teachers and educators. And that was not something that I ever expected to happen. And so I just want to say that there are some really good people out there. So that took me by surprise and was super appreciated. So, okay, I have one more thing. I've got to share my favorite rides with you. So my favorite rides, Guardians of the Galaxy, if you get the chance to do it. I was so worried because everybody talked about that they were getting sick. And I mean, I did in the past get a little bit like motion sickness on boats and stuff. So I was super nervous, but I made a deal with myself that when I was in Disney World, I was going to try every ride that I could. And I did do that except for, it was the Tower of Terror. That is the one ride that I did not do, but every other ride that I was scared to ride, I tried. And Guardians is an incredible experience from the queue line all the way through to the end. If you get the opportunity, ride that ride. It is incredible. Scariest ride, Rock and Roller Coaster by far was the scariest ride I went on. I loved it. Biggest surprise ride that I wasn't expecting to love that I actually did love was Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Train. That was so cool. It was such a fun ride. And let's see if I'm forgetting. Oh, the favorite extra was the Rhino Tour. Ooh, it was so great at Animal Kingdom. It was really reasonably priced. I think it was $50 a person, and it was well worth it. It was a pretty cool experience. So, my takeaway is that I went into this trip having some pretty low expectations around the amount of rides that we all wanted to do, that we would be able to do as a large group of 20. And that was wrong. We actually got to ride a ton of the rides together. And the other thing was that, go big when you go to Disney. Embrace the culture, the ears, the t-shirts, all of the swag, because it is just really not to be like cheesy, but it is a magical experience and it's a magical place for the time that you're down there. So I hope that you can take something away from this episode. And if you're planning a trip to Disney anytime in the future, maybe there's something that you can take with you for your experience when you head to Walt Disney World. And that is it for this episode. Take care, and I hope that you have a great week, and I look forward to our next crafting adventure.
That's all for this episode of Weekend Crafting Adventures. Now go get that Cricut machine off the shelf and get crafty. For more information on this crafting project, interesting tips, tricks, and techniques, visit WCApodcast.com. Until next time, when we embark on another adventure.